Watch Swag. Good morning, everyone. Matinadapwa Anushka Gishigak. Mano how Mano Gishigaw. I was just saying that it's a beautiful day today. It's a beautiful fall day today. We have the leaves falling in the tree in front of me, and it's gray skies today. Lots of wind is in the air. It's a cool morning, and fall happens to be one of my favorite seasons. And I just really love the cold and love the cool air. I love bundling up and sitting by a fire and to stay warm. Fall and winter are my favorite seasons. Um, I was thinking about what we should talk about today, and I had some really interesting dreams last night that reminded me of something that we should all be doing on a regular basis. Last night I dreamt about ceremony, and one of the ceremonies that we have is Mushkego, Innuit Cree people, is called the shake tent ceremony. And it's one of our most, well, all ceremonies are powerful, but it's one of our most interesting and like I feel really connected when I'm in that ceremony. And if you're unfamiliar with it, there are actually quite a couple of really good documentaries on YouTube that you can search up that talk about that ceremony. And I don't have too much time to talk about it, but I wanted to share this much that the conductor that goes in there has that direct connection with ancestors to speak to them. And so in this dream that I was having about the ceremony, there was quite a few lodges set up around each other, shake tent lodges. And the conductors were working together to speak to the ancestors. And one of the things they spoke about was feasting and the importance of feasting our bundles and feasting our spirits and our ceremonies and languages, even the importance of feasting your ancestors and medicines. There's a deep connection with our natural foods and connection with the earth, where the foods come from, and the connections with Creator that we need to honor. And we do this honoring through feasting our ancestors, giving them that natural food. At the beginning, at the time of creation, um, it said that the animals were given a very, very important role and responsibility, and that was to take care of the humans, to take care of these poor, pitiful beings that showed up on this earth. We were naked. We didn't know how to take care of ourselves. We were very pitiful, and Creator made the relationship between us and the animals. And he asked the animals, can you please take care of these people, these humans? Without you, they won't survive. And so Creator spoke to them. You have to excuse the sound in the background. We have a new kitty, and he's a little hyper right now. His name is Buddy. You might hear him yelling. But so Creator spoke to all the animals individually and said, help clothe these humans, help feed these humans, help nourish them with minerals and vitamins to keep them strong, because they're going to take care of you in return. It's a reciprocal relationship. So as caretakers of the land and the waters and the animals, in return, they sacrifice themselves for us. So it's that idea of reciprocity and taking care of each other as a whole. And it's really unfortunate that, and I say unfortunate, maybe that's a strong word, but the animals, they know how to live in harmony with Mother Earth and nature, but it's only humans that don't know how. For some reason, humans have a lot of ego and greed and chaos that don't live in harmony with the earth anymore. That connection was lost along the way somewhere. There are a lot of really good people and scientists and people that do take care of the earth and maintain it in a good way. But unfortunately, there are some really greedy companies and businesses and things like that that destroy the earth. I don't think I need to say too much about that. I think we all know the destruction that's been happening on the earth. But somewhere along the way, that relationship of reciprocity was lost, and so it's our duty to honor that initial relationship that we made with the animals and the earth, and all of the plant beings, the berries, the fish, everything, and to feast them, and also to feast our ancestors with the original and the traditional foods of our territories, wherever it is you come from. Out west, it might be more fish and, along the shores, and up north, I know, because we're water people up north too, in the James Bay, Hudson Bay, we use a lot of fish too in our traditional foods. But we also use the wild meats in our territory, which includes moose meat, deer meat, goose, beaver, rabbit, just to name a few. But there's a lot of animals that we have that relationship with. Growing up, I would witness my grandfather harvest, and then he would always give something back to the earth. And by that being, he would give a plate of food to the earth, or he would give the part of the animals that we wouldn't use, for example, parts of the intestine and the guts and things like that we would harvest on the land. We would give that back to the earth. And but for the most part, we would use every little part of that animal, and it would be useful for something, if not to feed yourself, then to make something to clothe yourself. So with that in mind, I was thinking about those ceremonies last night, and that made me think about feasting and the importance of feasting. A lot of the teachings that I receive, especially from my elders, talk about the importance of working together as well when it comes to feasting. When you're in community, it's important to take that time to show caring for one another, and how we do that is through helping. Even if you're helping tidy up, or you're helping watch the children, or you're helping to clean, even if you're not cooking, if you're not comfortable with cooking, there's different ways you can help within that feast and within that traditional ceremony of feasting. And even if it's not a traditional ceremony, if you're at a gathering, find a way to be helpful, because that's one way of showing that we care about each other. And again, it goes back to that original teaching of that reciprocity that Creator wanted us to have with one another, being caring and loving. And so when we do feasting as well, like, we think about different times when we can feast. Sometimes people ask me, when should I feast my drums? When should I feast my bundles and my feathers and my name and my spirit and things like that? And there is no true or correct answer to that. It's whatever feels good to you when you feel like you need to. And for myself, when I feast, I like to feast at least during the seasonal changes. I know some people that feast monthly, with every full moon or every new moon. I know people that feast once a year, so it's really up to your own preference and what your ability and what your spirit calls you to do. And when you're feasting, you can try to use as much traditional food as you can, but also think about maybe some foods that you like yourself. Could be anything. You made something really nice for dinner and you want to use that for your feast, that's okay too. It's what you have, and you do the best you can with what you have. And that's always been one of our teachings as well, is we do our best with what we have. And one thing that is important to add to your feast is always the sema, the tobacco. You add that to your plate when you're making your offering. Traditionally, you would use a plate of birch bark. You would get a birch bark and use that as your plate. when you're offering to the land or to the fire. You can also use just a regular plate and just, scrape your food off that way onto the land or into the fire, but as much natural materials as possible. Um, yeah, and when you're feasting, you always do that with intention. You think about what the purpose is and um, why you're doing it and who you're feeding, and you think about those things. And you also have to have your heart needs to have gratitude. You need to feel gratitude and be thankful for the gifts that you've been given, and thankful for the ancestors helping you, especially and guiding you on your journey, because without them, without their guidance, we'd all just be running around lost, and we have our ancestors. They're guiding us and protecting us, and we have to honor them too through feasting. You'll often hear at traditional feasts, you'll hear people talk about the spirit plate, and that's what they're talking about. It's that plate for the ancestors, and so that plate is always set aside before anyone else eats. When the food is being blessed, that plate will get set aside, and you just put a little bit of everything in there. It doesn't need to be a big scoop. You can just put a little bit. It doesn't have to be too much. The important thing is that you include the traditional foods, which includes some form of wild meat, um, some berries, corn, maybe some fish, and some rice, maybe some wild rice. But that's the main dish that you would serve with a little bit of tobacco, and that's set aside separately for the ancestors and the spirits. But I just wanted to share that little bit of much with you today. I know I had that dream last night, and I've been thinking about it all morning since sunrise, and thinking about the importance of feasting and how our ancestors communicate with us, and how we need to be mindful and remember those original instructions that we receive from Creator, and go back to that from time to time, and reflect on it and meditate on it, and see how you can be more connected with the land, and how you can go back to honoring that original instruction. Have a great day, everybody.